in addition to the M3 half tracks and the M8 armored cars, I was saying that I'm doing 4 platoons of US forces for bolt action. So this is, and I was going to do 4 videos on them because, well, they're different. And if I do it in like one great big video, then it's not going to make a lot of sense. And if you're really only interested in, say, the Marines, then you don't have to sit through the other 3. So this one's going to be about the paratroopers. I had an awful lot of fun putting these together. Now, each of these 4 platoons is based on the same basic standard Warlord Games US Infantry, as in US Army Infantry kit. I added bits to make them into what they are. So these are the paratroopers, and the things that I added to them to make them what they are just loads of pouches everywhere. So you've got, that guy there is the platoon commander. Now he uses a Warlord Games German officer or German non-commissioned officer arm. The right arm there, that's to sort of show that he's either using a trophy weapon or a captured weapon, because he's allowed to have a submachine gun if he wants, and so that's one that he's using because he's, because he just can. And it also helps me to remember, for these, because the stats on, it's not like with Warhammer 40,000 where, say, like a Space Marine captain is probably worth, I don't know, like 10 or 15 guardsmen. Here, like a paratrooper lieutenant or captain is gonna be about the same as anybody else. It's their effect in the game rather than their ability to withstand damage, give damage. So, because it's just a human. So in order that I remember the officers, I put them on these these Mantic bases, these big discs. So the Mantic bases, it just gives them like a little plinth, so that if somebody's got, and then when I paint them, obviously there's going to be like either a red or a blue or a green or some kind of colour band around the base to help that model stand out, so that I remember, and so that my opponent remembers, if I ever actually get around to playing this, that that's an officer. So this platoon has 3 squads of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 3 squads of 8 in the platoon. There's a forward artillery observer and an officer, and then everybody in it is essentially completely covered in pouches. So, and most of them are going to be using the M1 carbine because, well, it's lighter, and you're going to jump out of an aeroplane. Also, because it helps me to remember that if I'm looking at a US infantryman and he's using a Garand, then it's not going to be, one of the other platoons. So these fellas, they're using pouches from the British and the Soviet infantry. If you remember, there's a video of mine where I took a load of Soviet infantry and I made a World War II Astra Militarum company. So I had a whole load of pouches left over. The idea behind this entire project is to paint these as well as I can, because I never normally take all that much time over painting, probably as you've seen with the Stomper video, but I want to actually take the time and do as good a job as I can do, and try to improve my painting. So these are as richly detailed as I can make them. Now, what's of note are the weapons teams. So obviously I'm going to clean up like that there where there's a little bit of sprue flash. Is it a flash or is it just... Anyway, that little bit there that needs cleaning up. But these guys get access to stripped down 30 caliber machine guns, but in the box set obviously there's no model for it, so they're using spare weapons. I think that's actually a 50 caliber machine gun, but because it's on an infantry base and because it's you know, if anybody ever asks me what's that, then I'm going to say, well, it's, you know, it's a light machine gun. I think it's called the, is it the 1918 or the 1919? The M1919, I think it is, which is a stripped down light machine gun for air use. But when I added the third squad, I had run out of those parts, so I used this Bren from the British 8th Army set to represent the light machine gun, or the what we would call now, I guess, the squad level automatic. So the light support weapon for the squad. So there are 3 of those. Then the platoon also has a sniper team and 2 bazooka teams and, uniquely for the paratroopers, a 2-man light mortar. Other, particularly in the US, anyway, other US infantry, the mortar is a 3-man crew, but these, because it's a light mortar and because it's been parachuted in, it's parachuted in. Sorry, it's a 2-man crew. So again, it's just a small team of 2. So that's it for the paratroopers. I'll do another video for each of the other platoons as I go.